Welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. I'm Steve Bose. Trish McFarland, how are you?
I'm good. Steve, how are you?
I'm great. We have to welcome our special guest on the work break this morning, an unusual morning work break. I got to tell you, I've not done a lot of work yet today other than prepare for this. So just for the record. But Susan Toriyama is with us. She's the CHRO at Ceridian. Susan, how are you?
I am very well this morning. Thank you so much.
Great to have you here. Who talked you into doing this, by the way? Did you lose a bet to someone?
I was voluntold, as I like to say.
I like that.
Very excited to be here.
Well, it's awesome to have you. Yeah.
You know what? I was going to say, I think that, we normally don't do this in the morning, but I feel like we're up against, what is it, Kelly and Ryan? Live with, this is better. There's three of us. There are
better guests, most definitely.
Automatically better. So, yeah, well, good. Well, we're welcoming you this morning and glad. Have you got a few hours of work in? I feel like I've got a few in, but yeah, it's a little bit of an early break.
This is my mid-morning snack time. It's good. It's perfect.
I love it. Mid-morning snack. Well, good. Well, how are things at Ceridian? I mean, obviously CHRO, having kind of grown up myself in the HR world, I can appreciate probably all the stresses that you have on you, and especially this time of year, right? You've got all sorts of things around benefits and just end of year compliance. Like, how are things going at Ceridian in the HR world?
Yeah, well, it's been, I have been at Ceridian now for 8 months. So I am one of those, interesting people who started my career at this wonderful company during COVID. So started at home.
Wow.
I've met people all 2D. I'm not quite sure if they're 3D or not, but for now, 2D. And it's been going very well. I think we were very fortunate in that the transition to a virtual first organization was quite smooth. We are, we're a digital tech company, and so that has been done, I think, incredibly well. The communications have been done incredibly well within globally within our company. So all things considered, so far so good with everything. But you're right, the world continues to move, and benefits still need to be done, and performance reviews still need to be discussed, and so things are still moving and churning. So
good. Well, you know what? It's funny. Steve and I have been familiar with many of the people in the executive levels of Ceridian for years, right? And so even from the HR standpoint, former CHRO, and just it always feels like to me, at least in the last 5 years that I can think of, and Steve, agree or disagree, I feel like you all have always been, at least in those years, really sort of cutting edge when it comes to your approach to people. Yeah. So I wonder how does that work, coming into a new role? Because it seems like they probably have a number of things already in place that a lot of companies don't. But do you have some areas where you're really wanting to dig in pretty quickly? And
yeah, I mean, there is there is work being done to continue to kind of build off what we did in the past. And it's interesting as our worlds have been sort of turned on their heads, and we look at sort of what the new sort of the future of work looks like. The change in what employees want for development and growth, and how they want to learn, and how they want to get, how they want flexibility in their days, and flexibility in terms of when we can go back to work, what they would like to do. You're always building off of the successes of your predecessors, and we continue to do that. I mean, I keep telling my team, innovation. I want innovation after innovation after innovation. Unless it's dumb innovation, then we don't do it. But you always want to be on the cutting edge of that, and so it never stops. So great work that they were done, but it's a different world. It's a different world. When I interviewed for this job and when I joined the company, it sort of changed overnight.
Yeah. Susan, I must confess to stalking you on LinkedIn prior to this show, because we've not met. And I'm going to tell you what, you had one set of experiences in your background I'd love for you to share, because I'm so geeked out on it. You had big HR roles for the National Basketball Association for a number of years.
I did.
That's my favorite pastime in the world, is the NBA. That's all I care about, honestly. Just tell me a little bit about what was that like working in HR for the NBA, including like overseas.
Yeah, yes. So I spent the majority of my career in Asia. I spent 25 plus years. I graduated from university and moved to Asia, and away I went. And so I started with the NBA in Hong Kong. I started as sort of running the regional HR team. And it's so funny because my mother generally doesn't understand what I do, but she would ask, "Are you out trying to recruit tall people?" Yes, that was exactly my role in
Right.
recruit tall people. But it was a fascinating experience. I spent a year in doing that in Hong Kong, and then I was moved back to the league office. And the mix of this sports and the entertainment piece of it, and going to All-Star. I mean, Steve, if you want to geek out, and going to All-Star and being sort of backstage quietly at
Are
All-Star.
you kidding me? Yeah, I was.
Seeing athletes walk back and forth is just
You're talking to a guy who's gone to NBA Summer League in Vegas for like 7 years in a row. That's how into it I am. So
I don't judge, Steve. I don't judge.
That is awesome. So who's your favorite team though? You gotta have a team. Who's your team?
I'm in Toronto, Steve. The Raptors.
Of course.
I mean, come on. But for COVID, we would be double winners. So but
I know.
I love it.
The Raptors had a really strong team this year again, trying to defend their title, and a couple breaks went against them, but they could have been there. So great team.
A couple people left. Couple people moved on, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. That's awesome.
See, we do an NBA HR Happy Hour podcast episode. That's been an annual thing for years and years. We might have to tap you for next spring when we do our annual NBA show.
Yeah,
there we go. And I'm happy to have other people join who I know from the NBA. It was a phenomenal organization.
Yeah, and another great example, honestly, of an organization and a business entity that had to just do this huge pivot, this huge transformation, right, to try to really kind of save their business more or less, right, this season. And they actually did an incredible job of doing it, what they did in that bubble.
It's interesting. I mean, one of the reports that will come out during Insights is this Pulse on Talent report we did, and it's fascinating to see in the U.S. So for U.S. talent, the report showed that 64% of employees are looking for new positions, and it's one of the reasons. Also, 64% are looking for stability in the organization they move to, and I think it's just that, Steve. I think that companies that weren't sort of digital first, that couldn't pivot quickly, for whatever reason, that were considered sort of sure bets in the past, are no longer, or at least for a period of time, are no longer considered sure bets. And people are looking. They're looking for who are those companies that can utilize technology, can utilize sort of new ways of thinking, and can pivot. And the NBA did an amazing job of that with trying to get the league down to Orlando.
Yeah, they sure did. And it was a great run, too. Shout out to the Lakers who won the championship. I'm not a Laker fan, to be honest with you, but
who's your team, Steve? Who's your team?
It's sad for me to admit this publicly, but I'm a lifelong New York Knicks fan. We have been awful for decades now, but I'm sticking with them. My second team is I'm probably adopting the Dallas Mavericks. In fact, on yesterday's work break, I was wearing a Dallas Mavericks t-shirt, just because it's hard not to love Luka. And I was a Porzingis fan because we had him in New York for his first few years of his career. And I thought he was going to be the best player we ever had and lead us to a championship. And of course we traded him because we're dumb. But anyway,
there you go.
I'll cover all this on my other podcast, Trish NBA Daily. So,
hey, you know what? We're an NBA family too. So I have twins that are just about turning 17, boy and a girl. My son and I were Orlando Magic fans. And my daughter is a Suns fan. So
Phoenix Suns, yeah.
Phoenix
really?
Suns. Yeah.
Do they fight? Do they get
all the time? Yeah, it started because we don't, I live outside of St. Louis. We don't have a basketball team, but we were going to Orlando 3-4 times a year. And so every time we would go, because there's Allegiant Airlines is just right outside of where I live. So it's like super cheap. You can fly to Orlando for, $40, $50 basically anytime. And so we would go down for like a long weekend a couple times a year. And yeah, we'd go to the Magic games. And they were little, and Carly thought it was the Magic versus the Suns, and that started it. And so since then, it's just been literally years of this kind of rivalry between the two of them. So yeah.
Well, yeah. And I know that now that, there's a trend for younger people are staying at home longer now. So good luck. You've got another good, let's say 10, 20 years of that in your household. It'll be good.
I hope so. I have to tell you, like, they're, especially during COVID, they're starting to look at universities and that sort of thing, and doing lots of virtual tours because they can't do the in-person ones just yet. But it's like they're ready to go, and I'm like, oh, you guys can stay with mom. I'm ready. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I want to just give a quick plug. Susan, you mentioned Insights. The Insights event's coming up. I want to mention that Ceridian Insights event is November 16th through 18th, and we will share the links to that. And Trish and I will be doing a session at Insights that Trish will probably need to finish that session here soon. But yes, we're excited to do it. We'll be talking about talent and skills and some of the issues that have come up throughout kind of the last 8 or 9 months. So we're super excited about that. And again, we'll share that link.
And I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, like the two of you, there are some just, fantastic business leaders, some great celebrity guests.
Nice.
And this year, it's all virtual, it's free, and it's incredibly accessible. So look, I encourage everyone, if you can join it. There's some amazing speakers, like truly, that I am really, really ready and waiting to learn from. So.
Yeah, that's going to be great. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I would say, I think I've been to Insights, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 times already in person. And I do think it's good that it's virtual so that people maybe who haven't experienced it or just had the ability to go when it happened. I say this sincerely, like it's always been one where I learn. Yeah. And I love that. A lot of times if you're a speaker, you kind of go, you do your session and you're kind of out. Not the case at all in Insights. I truly have learned every sinking time I've gone to Insights. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the sessions, truly.
Yeah. And interesting, being virtual, it gets more accessible globally. Yeah. We have clients and customers and employees all over the world, and being virtual just makes it just that much more accessible to everyone, which pulls on inclusivity, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Trish, I have to get this in. I don't care. We're going to go a little bit longer. Huge news this morning. I have to share on the work break. I can't hold this till Monday.
Okay, do it.
Our friends at McDonald's have announced a national rollout of the McRib sandwich. December 2nd, national rollout. It's the first national release of the McRib since 2012, Trish.
I can't stand the McRib.
It is back. It's going to be a part of our lives again. And 2020 has been so awful for so many reasons, for so many people. This is a bit of a bright light at the end of an awful year. McRib, December 2nd. I'm counting down. I don't know how many days that is.
The only way that they could make that more disgusting is if they would just do the Shamrock Shake at the same time.
I love the Shamrock Shake. Don't hate on the shake.
Man.
We'll never get the McDonald's sponsorship now.
Just put the McRib in the Shamrock Shake and shake it up. There you go.
God. If I could have that as the meal, the shake and the McRib, on the drive-through, I'm in. I'm all in. So that's I don't know. That's my news. So there you go.
Awful.
Well, good stuff. Susan, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you had fun. We did.
I did. Thank you so much. This is great.
Great to see you. Thanks to all our friends at Ceridian Insights, November 16th to 18th. We'll give out the link. And Trish, that's it. We did it. Have a great early work break's done. We're free for the rest of the day. Have a great Friday. Great rest of the day, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for listening and all the comments and all the questions. Keep them coming over the weekend. We'll catch you back here on Monday.
All right. Take care, everyone.